grateful to share a little part of this beautiful Saturday with you all. Today we have a great lineup with former BYU football linebacker Isaiah Kafusi coming on to discuss balancing football and family and what he expects from BYU football this season. Plus, in honor of the movie Top Gun Maverick, which blew my mind, we're going to discuss which BYU athlete or coach you would want as your ultimate wingman. Joining me now to break it all down is the one and only Jason Shepard. What's up, Shep?
What's up, Lauren? I am so glad that we're going to talk about, obviously, sports, but the fact that we're going to talk a little Top Gun Maverick, the movie, I loved it. Very rarely, Lauren, can the expectations be so high. And, you know, all Rotten Tomatoes, it was like 97% for a while. It was like at 100%. And so you go in like, all right, it cannot live up to this hype. And then it did. And it was amazing.
And it does.
It was amazing.
It really got me, Shep. But I have to say, for those of you who have not seen it, it is a little corny. There's a little cheesiness. It's predictable in ways. It was the 80s, and they used some of the same music. It's so good. Really nostalgic if you've seen the first one. But if you haven't seen the first one, it is still a phenomenal film, and it is because of the cinematography. It just was out of this world. Like nothing I've ever seen. I was like giddy in the movie theater, Shep, watching this, like with anxiety. Like I'm like, I've never felt this, I don't think, watching a movie in the theater. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
It was a lot of fun. And the way that they begin the movie from the very opening scene, like it had me. It had me. It was great.
Love me some Tom Cruise. So it had the biggest Memorial Day weekend opening of all time.
And his biggest opening ever.
Yes, which is crazy, right?
You think about
of all he's done.
Yes. It's nuts
Mission
to think.
Impossible.
Well, I mean, everything, whether it was, I mean, you can even go back into the 80s and 90s with some of this, Jerry Maguire, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that this was his biggest opening weekend ever, at this, I mean, he's close to 60, right?
He's 59. Yep.
And I think other people have brought this up. I would say maybe today, maybe you could probably get some people that would argue maybe The Rock would fit into this. But to me, like an old school movie star, it's Tom Cruise. Like he's the last of a breed. You know what I mean? Like
really
his
is.
type of movie star persona doesn't exist very much anymore. And like I said, some people can make an argument maybe The Rock fits in, but he's still newer than Tom Cruise. So I mean, I realize this show is not for us to promote Top Gun Maverick, but man alive, go see this movie.
And honestly, this is like beating a dead horse because the media talks about it incessantly, but Tom Cruise does his own stunts.
I know.
That is what you just got to respect the guy.
Yeah,
you just got to respect
absolutely.
him. And I'm proud to say I contributed $20 to that $300 million.
So did the Shepards.
Plus $7 or whatever it is for popcorn because you got to do it. But it featured a tender scene between Maverick and Iceman, which really got me thinking. All right, Shep, which former or current BYU athlete or coach would you want as your ultimate wingman? Who you got?
Okay, so are we doing one of each or just one
Yeah,
or
one of
the
each.
other? Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to go with my former first, okay? And I actually had a couple that I had thought about. But at the end of the day, I landed on Ty Detmer. Because there are qualities of a wingman that I think you have to have. And one of them, I think near the very top, if not the very top, is trustworthy. You got to trust your wingman, right? I trust Ty Detmer. Yep. Ty Detmer is not going to lead me astray. So I believe in Ty Detmer. So I'm going to go with my former Cougar wingman is going to be Ty Detmer.
And Ty has that country charm.
Yes,
about him
trust
that you
him.
Just trust.
I trust him.
Oh yeah,
That's where I'm going. So are you going to do your former, and then we'll both do currents?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
For my pick for a former player, I got to go with Jackson Emery. So here's why. Jimmer was the star, right? There's no denying that or getting around it, but it also made him very exposed. And he was always the target for every team. Everyone, you got to be imagining with me now, having a wingman flying out there. So Jimmer was always the target for every team, and that's where Jackson Emery came in. Jackson was willing to do all the dirty work to protect Jimmer and let him do what he did best. He was extremely talented and smart. He was quick, and a good decision maker. He was the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year in 2011, which helped out Jimmer since he didn't play much defense. He's a guy you'd want as your wingman, the perfect support system so you can do what you need to do to win without having to think too much about who's behind you. He's someone who will always have your back. Jackson Emery.
Look,
What do you
I
think of
love
that
the
one?
rationale. I think it's great. You definitely put more thought into yours than I did. But I love what you said, Jackson. That is a perfect, like, he was on a team that had the most dominant player in college basketball on it.
Yeah.
But yet, first of all, Jackson was still able to be successful, but he also supported Jimmer and allowed Jimmer to be Jimmer because there were some things that Jimmer didn't have to worry about because Jackson took care of it. I love that. It's great.
And you think of the movie, you think of Maverick in the movie. He's kind of a Jimmer-esque type guy where it's like, I'm gonna do things my way. And not that Jimmer was like super cocky or anything. He just did things his way, and he needed a supporting cast. He needed a good wingman, and there was Jackson Emery.
Okay, I
All
like
right,
it.
so who do you have as your current wingman?
See, this one was the one that I struggled with currently because there's so many people that I could go with, but I guess where I fell on this was I'm going to stick with football again, and I'm going to go with another quarterback. And if we're going with current quarterbacks, I think everybody knows where I'm going to go. I'm going to say Jaron Hall. Jaron Hall is one of those guys that has proven that he can do multiple things. We know his athleticism. We know what type of an athlete he is. We know that this is a guy that can run with the football. But I think and we've known this, but I think he proved to a lot of other people over last season was his ability to throw the football. And so I like the fact that he can do multiple things, and if in whatever the situation calls for, he has the skills to be able to handle whatever you throw at him. So that's why I'm going with Jaron Hall as my current.
I like that. I like that one a lot. And he has that really even-keeled demeanor, which I think you need in a wingman. So as far as current coaches/players for me, I got to go with Kalani Sitake, Shep. I feel like the guy is loyal to a fault, right? Extremely loyal. You can trust him, which is something you said is very important in a wingman. He's a team-first guy. He's intimidating when he wants to be, and he's really funny.
Yeah.
So he has everything you'd want in a wingman. He'll hype you up before you got to go in the air. When tensions are high, he'll know how to make you laugh, to help you relax. And then when it's time to hunker down and get things done, he can dial it in, and he's going to keep you safe. He's going to have your back. So I gotta go with Kalani Sitake.
You know, and the other thing about Kalani, how many times do we ask questions to Kalani about him? Or, hey, you did a great job with this, and he puts it on other people. He defers, yeah. So I love that because his personality is perfect for that. I think that's a great one.
And I kind of went back and forth between he and Heather Olmstead as well, because Heather Olmstead also has that really even-keeled demeanor, which honestly, if you think about having a wingman, you need somebody like that. Like, you need someone that's in these high-tension situations is going to – I love that we're talking about this seriously. High-tension situations is going to be able to kind of keep their cool and have your back, and they're not going to freak out. And Heather Olmstead just knows how to win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would be another great one.
She'd be a great wingman. All right, here's what you guys said on Twitter. At S.Tel said, Jay Swag Daddy would be a great wingman, and there'd never be a dull moment, and he'd never, quote unquote, drop the ball. Hey-o.
See, he was actually one of the ones that I considered for my former player. He and Taysom Hill were the other two that I considered as my former player wingman.
I like it. I think Jay Swag Daddy would be a phenomenal wingman. Honestly, just to, if nothing else, to be entertained during the whole play.
Yeah, he would make sure that there was not a dull moment ever.
That's right. ABB Jones said, can I choose Jerem Jordan? He'll unexpectedly throw out scripture and pop culture references and make me laugh. Or Jimmer, because no matter the question, the answer is always Jimmer. Would you, Shep, have Jerem Jordan as a wingman?
Sure, I trust Jerem. Absolutely. I'd have Jerem as my wingman. Look, we're kind of like wingman when I fill in on Sports Nation. So, like, but in that scenario, usually I'm his wingman.
That's right.
See?
You have his back.
I have his back in those situations. But yeah, we kind of, certainly the stakes are not as high. hosting BYU Sports Nation as it would be like going into battle. But yeah, I have no problem with that.
You would be a great wingman, Chip. All right, Brian Maxwell said, gotta be Kyle Van Noy. Needs someone to make a play, he'll do it.
It's a good one.
Kyle Van Noy is a really good one. Tanner Wall said Max Hall because all he does is win. So I'm thinking. So a couple people said Max Hall.
And he's huge.
He's more of a Maverick type to me, though.
But see,
right?
But here's the deal, though. If you needed to get into a fight, Max Hall. If for those that have seen Max Hall, the guy's very fit. I'm going to take Max Hall in any type of situation where I need some physicality.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that dude's intense, and I love it.
I love it.
Casey Adams said Kalani, and at BYU_CJ said, the one and only Kalani Sitake, I feel like he would cut a fool if they mess with me and then immediately try to sew them up. Very true.
Very nice.
Very good, kind man. Russell Grizz said, I'd want to say Jimmy Mack, but no way is he the wingman type. So can I be his wingman? Yeah, I don't see Jim McMahon as a wingman. He's Iceman. He's Iceman. He's got to blaze his own path. Oh,
he's
yeah,
Iceman.
Yeah, he is Iceman. Jeff Biesinger said Kyle Whittingham. I think Jeff's a Ute fan, but really, honestly, Kyle Whittingham is not a bad choice.
Well, I think he's a former Cougar.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, it fits.
And he's intense. He's competitive. He's loyal. Yeah, Kyle, he'd be a great one. Okay, so you mentioned Jaren Hall. So ESPN's Mel Kiper lists Jaren Hall as the early number 6 quarterback prospect for the 2023 draft. What do you think, Shep, about that placement at number 6? Do you feel like we've seen enough from Jaren Hall to be confident in this?
Yeah, I do. And that's high praise for Jaren Hall, and it's well-deserved high praise. And I was afraid that he was not going to get the recognition that I think he deserves, because I expect a big season out of Jaren Hall this year. I really, really do. So when I saw that Kiper had him listed that high, I was really pleased with it. Because, look, Mel Kiper, he's not in this business to make friends. He's very analytical in what he does. He watches the film. So this is very, there's nobody in terms of draft prospects that is more prepared or better known for that than Mel Kiper Jr. So if Mel sees something in you, then that says a lot.
Then it's legit.
Yeah, that says a lot. And let's be honest, that's also, that's coming from other places. He's talking to other teams and organizations, and this is him looking at the tape, but he's also like asking us, where do you have these guys falling? And he's putting all this stuff together to compile these types of lists. And the fact that Jaren is where he's at, that speaks very highly of Jaren Hall and what he can do.
So cool for him. I'm excited to see what he can do this season. I personally think we maybe haven't seen quite enough from Jaren Hall. He had a great season. He obviously has all the right tools. I want the guy to stay healthy.
Yep.
And I want to see what he can do through an entire season. And I think if he can do that, I mean, that's always our worry, right? Can he stay healthy? Can you not have some concussions and just keep your body healthy? And that's such a hard thing to do in college football. It truly is. But I would love to see Jaren Hall just have a great, healthy season, and so we can see really what he's got. And then I mean, if that's possible, I definitely think he could be the number 6 quarterback prospect for the draft. So I guess we'll see what happens in the future. And Shep, just so you know, you can be my wingman anytime you want. All right?
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thanks for coming on with me. And coming up, former BYU star linebacker Isaiah Kafusi joins me to discuss being a dad, his brother Jackson, and BYU football in 2022. Don't go anywhere. This is Cougar Tailgate. Welcome back to Cougar Tailgate. I'm Lauren McClain. Joining me now is former BYU star linebacker who played from 2016 to 2020 and who is now trying to make it as a professional golfer, Isaiah Kafusi. What's up, Isaiah?
Hey, Lauren. Thanks for having me on.
I'm just kidding. I know you're not actually doing that. I watched you on BYU Sports Nation, and I saw that you've been golfing all summer. How's that going?
It's a good hobby. I love it. I love to get outdoors. I've been going pretty early in the morning. I like to go at like 6 a.m. So it's a good kind of reliever for me, stress reliever. So it's awesome.
6 a.m. So you like to be the only one on the golf course?
Yeah, I like to get out early before the sun comes up. That way I don't, I'm not spending too much time out on the golf course and away from family. So it's my happy medium.
Hey, what a good guy. I love that. I wish my body woke up that early without kids. All right. Well, besides golf, what are you up to these days?
After, I was kind of pursuing the NFL, I decided that I would hang up the cleats, and I got a job at Adobe. So I've been working as a business development rep at Adobe. It's been about 6 months, and helped Baylor Romney get a job there as well. So Baylor and I have been working together, and it's been good. Transitioning I'm sure is never easy, and it hasn't been easy. I definitely miss the game, and I miss being around the guys and playing football. But at the end of the day, it's pays my bills, and I'm happy doing it, and spend a lot of time with family. So that's kind of what I'm up to.
Well, I have no doubt that you're going to be successful at whatever you do. You're such a great guy, a really hard worker. But like you mentioned, I'm sure that transition is extremely hard. Would you say it's harder than you expected it to be, or were you kind of gearing up for what you're feeling now?
That's a great question. I've always had kind of a great mindset around football that, one day it's going to end. I've been blessed to have my father and my uncles and cousins and so many people that have been around the game and have played the game, and eventually it has ended for them. So I think I've always had a great kind of mindset that, football is an avenue to a lot of different goals. But it's not the only avenue. And so it has been tough to not be in the locker room and not have, games to look forward to and, plays to make. I think that's kind of the part that I miss most about it is my teammates and being able to play football and the relationships with my coaches. But at the end of the day, I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm very, very extremely satisfied with the way my football career had gone. I gave it my best shot, and had a lot of fun and made a lot of fun relationships.
I love that. And you played in the alumni game, didn't you, Isaiah?
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I'm sure you saw Brian Keel catch the ball right over my head.
I actually didn't know it was over your head, but now we all know. Oh, good. No, that was fun. What was that like for you to be able to get out on the field again?
Oh, Lauren, that was one of the coolest experiences I think I've had. It's just so many, names that I have heard, throughout the program, and that I know, I watched growing up, right? Like Brian Keel, I watched him and, idolized him in his game, and Wani Uma as well. And just so many different guys. And it was cool to get the different generations to come together, right? Just talking with some of the guys that played in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. Very unique experience, was very, humbling, and just a great reminder of the rich tradition that BYU has as a program and the brotherhood that we have. No matter what time you played at BYU, there's just a rich brotherhood, and, made so many connections. And it was just one of the greatest and coolest experiences that I've had.
I love that. And I know Kalani does a great job of welcoming back all the different generations of players and making them feel like LaVell Edwards Stadium and BYU is still their home. Isaiah, Father's Day is around the corner, and you became a dad to Foster while you were still playing football. How did it change you becoming a dad?
I mean, I could go on and on. I think there's so many ways to answer this question, and, so many feelings, I think, that are just hard to describe in words of, becoming a father. But I think ultimately for me, it gave my life and my kind of my trajectory perspective. There was more to life and more to me than just putting on the helmet and going out and playing and representing my school. It just put my life into perspective, that there's a bigger purpose now, and there's my why, and something to work hard for and to, strive to be the best for. And so, was not the easiest, I would say, right? There was, a lot of struggles and challenges that came along the way with having a child and being in school and playing football and trying to pursue it. But it was definitely, one of the greatest, I don't want to say accomplishments, because I don't think it's an accomplishment, but just one of the greatest joys that I've had, being able to bring Foster. And we're actually expecting another boy as well in August. And so looking forward to another crazy one running around the house. But it definitely was what I needed at that time as well. Having a son and being able to play for a greater purpose and to prepare and be the best that I can be for someone else.
So dang cool. So dang cool. And shout out to your wife too, because that's a difficult thing to balance that for both of you while you're playing because it's so time consuming. And congratulations on having another boy and coming from me who has two boys, Isaiah. It's crazy. But what was your reaction when you found out you and your wife were having another boy?
Oh, we were just, beyond ecstatic. Really excited. We love Foster and just the energy and all the joys and the craziness. So we're just looking forward to multiplying that by another one and just having fun with it.
That's awesome. Your little brother is still on the team, Jackson. What do you expect to see from him this season?
Yeah, I expect a lot. He's now one of the veterans in the group, and he's been battling some injuries and he's coming back. And I expect him though to really establish himself as a leader and just as one of the older guys who the younger guys can rely on. To pass on his knowledge and his routines that he's had and that he's established from some of the older guys that he's been around. And so expect him to really solidify himself in that room, to make plays. I think he's destined for a great year and a healthy year. So really excited about him in that room along with the other linebackers. But one of my greatest joys was playing with my brother, and I love watching him play. I love watching him develop into his own player that he is. And really excited for him for this year and to just watch him really explode onto the scene.
We're all rooting for him this season, hoping he can stay healthy. When you look at the 2022 season as a whole, you're familiar with a lot of the guys that are still on the team. What would you
Yeah.
say gets you most excited when you see who's coming back?
Oh man, a lot of things. Obviously, I'm biased towards the defensive side of the ball. I think the offensive side of the ball is very solidified. Great foundations there in the offensive line, the quarterback play, the receiver room, and the running back room. Having Chris come in from Cal, and I think they are gonna have a great year, and it's kind of expected. But really excited about the defensive side of the ball. It's a big time schedule. There's a lot of great offensive teams that we're going to be playing in Oregon and Notre Dame. And, really excited to just see how the defense is really going to step up, how they're going to make plays. I think that's going to be the biggest key this season is how can we get the offense the ball? And I think that was evident in our 2020 season, right, with Zach Wilson, and that was our mentality: is how can we give these offensive, players the ball again, right? We want to see Zach score and play and make a lot of plays, and I think that they're dangerous. And to me, this season seems pretty similar in the sense that the defense really needs to create turnovers, needs to find ways to get stops on 3 and outs and fourth down stops, create turnovers where they can, create sacks, and just really give the offense a chance to shine. So I think that's, to me, is the biggest key to this season. And you don't want to face an easy schedule, right? So I think that they have a great schedule to really put some good film out and put some good stuff on paper. So we'll see.
You mentioned that some of the teams they're playing are phenomenal offensively, which is obviously difficult on the defense, creates a challenge. So you mentioned on BYU Sports Nation that you thought 10 wins was realistic. But what do you think what are the realistic expectations for the season in terms of wins when you look at the entire schedule?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stand by 10 wins. The 9, 10, 11 win range is, I think, kind of the standard now for BYU. And I think going to the Big 12, it could change because, there's going to be a lot of growing pains, but I think Kalani and the staff understand what it takes to now compete at a very, very high level and to kind of break that 10-win bubble. So I'm pretty confident that if the defense can get takeaways, if they can create turnovers and hold, some of these high scoring and high performing teams to, minimal yardage, rushing and passing, and then, as well as points scored. I think that the offense is good enough and great enough to be able to produce. So 10 wins to me is kind of the bar that's set there. And I know that the guys can do it. I know that Kalani and the staff are more than capable of 10 wins. So would love to see that happen. And, it started yesterday, really. That's where the mindset is, all the work, in the off season is really going to be shown and seen during the season. So really excited about it and excited to just watch the guys play.
You need to be an analyst, Isaiah. You have a gift. I'm serious. You are so good at this. My last question for you is your cousin Corbin is getting some national publicity for his catch with the Tampa Bay Bandits. What did you think of all that? What did you think of a big old lineman getting a catch?
Oh, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I probably lost my voice in the 20 seconds of that catch. I was sitting with my family. We were at the table, and I turned the TV on and saw the game on. I'm like, oh, Corbin's playing. So I threw it on, and that was the very next play. It was 4th down, 4th and 3. And so I was watching Corbin, saw him line up as a tight end. And, when he ran out on that route, my heart rate just started to increase. And I'm like, throw it to him, throw it to him. Go, Corbin, go, run. And I was getting so excited. It was just being able to watch him do that. And it was fun. It was cool. And, very athletic, guys. He's one of the most athletic big guys I think around. And he definitely deserved that moment.
Absolutely. If only he would have scored. He was so close. So close. All right, we have Isaiah Kafusi.
He would have scored.
Yeah, that's true. I'm with Isaiah Kafusi, former BYU linebacker. Isaiah, thank you so much for coming on with me today, and good luck with everything in your future.
Thank you so much, Lon. I appreciate you guys having me on.
And that does it for us today. Thanks again to Isaiah Kafusi and Jason Shepard for coming on the show with me. You can join the Cougar Tailgate virtually, of course, every Saturday at noon Mountain Time, or download, rate, and review our podcast on Apple, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or on BYURadio.org. This is Cougar Tailgate.